At last, we've arrived at our final chapter, The Digital Revolution and Beyond, Chapter 24. It used to take graphic designers, typesetters, production artists, and press operators to realize a design communication. Along comes electronic and computer technology, and it has kept an extraordinary pace. By the 1990s, digital technology gave one person sitting there at their desk the ability to control most, even all, of the processes of design. This technology continues to have widespread social, cultural, and economic implications. Thankfully, we are at last through the door to arrive at an epoch of diversity in design. The style characteristics of the digital revolution are computer-generated imagery, the internet, interactive design, and the World Wide Web. Of course, we've got to get started with Steve Jobs. He was an American businessman, entrepreneur, and investor. He was also chairman, chief executive officer, and co-founder of Apple. He was the chairman and majority shareholder of Pixar and a member of the Walt Disney Company's board of directors following its acquisition of Pixar. Also the founder, chairman, and CEO of Next. Jobs is widely recognized as a pioneer of the microcomputer revolution of the 70s and 80s, along with Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak. April Greiman was an early pioneer of digital graphic design. She embraced digital technology and explored its creative potential. Here we see a poster for the Los Angeles Institute of Contemporary Art, where the computer output printed as layers of lavender, blue-gray, red, orange, and tan overlap and combine into an even fuller palette. This poster was composed of digitized images that were output by a low-resolution printer onto standard 8.5 by 11 bond paper. Rudy Vanderlins began to edit, design, and publish a magazine called Emigre in 1984. In 1987, he left his newspaper job and formed a partnership, Emigre Graphics, with the designer Susanna Lyko. 3 levels of visual information are layered in dimensional space on this cover for Emigre. Another cover, traditional typographic syntax yielded to an experiment in unconventional information, sequencing for a special issue about a graphic design exchange between the Cranbrook University and Dutch designers. Many art school and university design education programs became centers for discourse and experimentation with computer technology, such as Michigan's Cranbrook Academy of Art, where Catherine McCoy co-chaired the design department with her husband, product designer Michael McCoy. Here we see a recruiting poster from 1989. It's a photographic collage of student projects that is layered with a listing of polemic oppositions and a communications theory diagram. The Detroit designer Ed Fella, whose typographic experimentation influenced a generation of designers, was an inspirational guest critic at Cranbrook and later attended the graduate program there before accepting a teaching position in California. A medley of personal and eccentric letter forms composed with connective logic and visual whimsy. During the early 1990s, advances in computer, software, and output devices allowed designers to achieve results within the computer environment comparable to the quality they had achieved using conventional printing methods. Quark Express, another page design application, and Adobe Photoshop, initially developed for electronic photo retouching, further empowered the user. At the same time, there was renewed interest in handmade and expressionistic lettering. Let's take a look at the work of David Carson. This is one of the magazines he did the design for, Raygun. And he, at the time, was considered a real bad boy of graphic design. He actually came from the San Diego area. He was a high school science teacher. And again, with the revolution of personal computing, really got into design. He was also quite an accomplished surfer. Personal exploration and design education soon yielded to the mainstream as editorial designers for specialized magazines started to apply that computer experimentation to the pages of their publication. Carson was an art director for a series of different magazines, including Transworld Skateboarding, Musician, Beach Culture, Surfer, and Raygun. David Carson rejected conventional notions of typographic syntax and imagery while exploring expressive possibilities of computer technology. Here's a spread from Beach Culture magazine. It's called Hanging at Carmine Street, and it's from 1991. Responding to the title of the editorial feature on a public swimming pool, Carson got inspired to hang some type upside down. He got rid of grid formats, information hierarchy, and consistent layout of type patterns. Instead, he chose to explore the expressive possibilities of each subject and each page or spread. Here we see another spread, Morrissey, The Loneliest Monk, from 1994, from Raygun magazine. The unusual photographic cropping and deconstructed headline convey the musician's romanticism and mystery. After art directing Texas Monthly and Regardie's, Woodward became the art director of Rolling Stone magazine in 1987. He worked to match typefaces to content and started a tradition of editorial and graphic excellence. We see a famous spread that broke a lot of rules for Sinead O'Connor. It was a breakthrough layout that used large-scale display type over 2 pages as a dynamic counterpoint to the photographic portrait. Another spread, The Making of the Soviet Bomb, we see blocky sans serif letters that evoke Russian constructivism, while reversed B's, R's, and a K connote the Cyrillic alphabet that is used in Russia. In this piece, Cybernation, typeface selection, computer manipulation, and the color palette all signify and express the article's content. Take a look at this wonderful spread, Man of the Year David Letterman. It's from 1995. There's a visual cohesiveness between type and imagery, as both are constructed from broad, flat shapes of interlocking color. Rolling Stone's text pages were punctuated by expansive double-page opening spreads that juxtapose full-page portraits opposite title pages dominated by display type. These frequently had little or no text. Content was expressed through unexpected selection, scale, and placement of type. By the mid-1990s, personal computers and the internet were launching the information age, and the magazine that gave voice to this new digital generation was Wired. The magazine's design team, John Plunkett and Barbara Kerr, introduced a postmodern machine aesthetic with edgy typography and fluorescent inks, which set it apart from other magazines. To add to the uniqueness, they ordered a custom typeface from Matthew Carter called Wiredbaum, based on the modern serif type Waldbaum. They envisioned a magazine that would do for the emerging information highway what Rolling Stone had done for rock and roll a generation earlier: define it, explain it, and make it indispensable to the magazine's readers. Font design software for desktop computers, such as Fontographer, enable designers to create and market original typefaces, which led to an explosion of new releases in the 1990s. Sumner Stone designed the Stone typeface family while type director at Adobe Systems, a prolific and influential digital type foundry. Adobe released a new concept in type design, multiple master typefaces, in which two or more master designs combined to generate extensive variations in weight, width, style, and optical size. Susanna Lyko was one of the designers creating some very significant typefaces, including Revival's Mrs. Eves, which was an interpretation of Baskerville's 18th century transitional face, and Philosophia, a modern style typeface. Matthew Carter, now of Carter & Cone Type, is an outstanding and really prolific type designer. His designs include Bell Centennial, designed for legibility in telephone directories, Galliard, an adaptation of a 16th century design by Robert Grandjean, Mantegna, inspired by the Renaissance painter Andrea Mantegna, and Sophia, an original display face inspired by capitals, Greek letter forms, and uncials from the 6th century Constantinople. Walker, a custom typeface with snap-on serifs, which Carter designed for the Walker Art Center, is a creative solution that supports the needs of the client by allowing typographic freedom of expression through its use. The flexible character of the typeface and all its permutations become the visual identity of the Art Center. The creation, distribution, and use of type became decentralized and democratized as a result of the digital type foundry. With digital imaging software, seamless image manipulation could be achieved, and as a result, photography was no longer considered the undisputed documentation of reality. Boundaries began to fade between photography, illustration, and fine art, as well as between designer, illustrator, and photographer. Before the Macintosh computer, access to electronic technology was expensive, and its creative potential was seldom explored. Early experimentation included the color variations of the MTV logo, using editing controls in a television studio by Pat Gorman of Manhattan Design. The resulting 1982 MTV press kit cover demonstrated the creative potential of electronic image manipulation. The work of Woody Pirtle and April Greiman, who pioneered electronic montages, they were harbingers of the current revolution in image making. This interactive CD-ROM by Visibility is a coordinated design system that unifies booklets, packaging, and screen design. Hypertext, interactive media, also called hypermedia, as well as the Internet and the World Wide Web, further expanded graphic design opportunities. Visibility, designed by Meta Design San Francisco, an information graphics firm with offices in Berlin, London, and San Francisco, was an interactive CD-ROM program that exemplified the potential of non-linear interactive media. The basic structural methods of interactive media included linear series, spatial zoom, parallel text, overlays, hierarchies, matrix, and web structures. This section of the chapter covers the development of the Internet, a vast network of linked computers, and the World Wide Web, a means to easily organize and access content on the Internet. Pioneers of early web projects included Jessica Helfand, who designed the Discovery Channel's initial website in 1994, Richard Saul Wurman, who coined the phrase information architect, and Clement Mock, an Apple computer creative director who opened Clement Mock Designs in 1987, which was renamed Studio Archetype in 1996. Mock was an early advocate of the graphic designer's role in interactive media and promoted design as an integral part of an organization's overall vision and strategy. Small firms and individuals were able to communicate with audiences and market products through interactive media. New computer software, the internet, expansion, and increased quality of design education saw a widening of the design profession. In this piece, drawers and cubbyholes make this screen adaptable to new and seasonal promotions, just like a storefront. On this website title page, we see an uninhibited aesthetic of the typeface being conveyed. San Francisco-based designer Jennifer Morla gets into all facets of design, from branding, print, packaging, motion graphics, environmental design to typography. She's known for her ability to combine wit and aesthetics with business savvy, and her clients have included Levi Strauss, Herman Miller, and the American Institute of Graphic Arts. Here's a poster for AIGA in 2002 that announces the opening of 9 design studios in San Francisco to local AIGA members. The word seam was suggested as a theme, and Levy sought imagery that would imply mining. Diamonds numbered from 1 to 9 represent the 9 design studios and the quality of their work. The black and white photograph of a tearful fashion model with running makeup was taken by the Swiss photographer Robert Schlater, now living in San Francisco. According to Levy, the tears could be caused by the heat of a mine, by sadness, or by anger. The question lingers. In the middle of a technological revolution, designers began using centuries-old techniques and processes like letterpress printing and looking back to the past. Internationally known for his innovative use of wood and metal letter forms, Alan Kitching gives letterpress workshops at the Royal College of Art in London. Here's a letterpress edition print from 2001. Blood, Toil, Tears, and Sweat is another letterpress edition print that was created for the exhibition Public Address System in London and Berlin. Here's a poster for the exhibition Macintosh in the Glasgow Style from 2000. Using symmetrical overlapping letter forms, the designer deftly suggests the ascending elegance of the Glasgow style. Max Kisman created this poster celebrating a century of Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. Here, direct manual digital lettering is created using a drawing tablet. Typography and the built environment merge with environmental graphic design. For over 40 years, Paula Scher at Pentagram has been ahead of her time. In recent years, her typographic treatments spilled out onto the streets. In Newark, New Jersey, she painted the Lucent Technologies Center for Arts Education, then put words over the entire facade to communicate the energy and dynamic activities contained within. Internet access and the use of personal computers is now almost universal. The ever-growing breadth, width, and depth of graphic design has ignited the creation of new software and design education. Advances in technology continue to transform the communications industry. Professional designers are joined by others whose design activities are extensions of their vocational or avocational activities, while graphic designers expand into self-initiated and fine arts-related experimentation, and this creates dynamic flux. The need for clear, imaginative visual communication to help people connect to cultural, economic, and social issues has never been greater. Thanks for sticking with me this semester on our journey. This final image was created by my husband, illustrator Rafael Lopez. I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk with you about the evolution of design styles. Although I've been teaching for over 30 years, I have to admit that my heart still skips a beat knowing that a young designer might be sitting out there who is going to create remarkable ideas to make a difference in this world. If I can help you realize your aspirations in design, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Now that your eyes are opened, I hope you've learned to see and appreciate design style, and that visual know-how will continue to grow in the years to come.